It could be an interesting weekend because it's the Manchester derby, and we all know that derbies can throw up interesting results. You guys play first. I mean, you guys could end up being 5 points clear of City by the end of this weekend if all goes your way.
Yeah. Look, first and foremost, I think any Spurs fans complaining about, oh my God, we're playing Monday and Friday. Hang on. This season is 11 and a half, 12 weeks old. We played 9 games. Spurs are playing a game less than every 10 days at the moment. So I think if you've got 2 games in 5 days, I don't think there's any issues with that, right? They're pro footballers. Why can't they play Monday night and then Friday night? Yeah, it's not the end of the world. In terms of, look, we could be 5 points clear. Look, I said before the game against Fulham, if you had a couple of games and somebody said to you, right, you've got these 2 games, Terry, to go 5 points clear at the top. And we'll leave all title talk aside for a moment, just to go 5 points clear at the top. And someone said, you've got Fulham at home who don't score goals, got a really bad goal difference. Let's be fair, they've got no goal threat at all. I'm not knocking them. They're a decent little team. No goal threat. And then you've got Crystal Palace who have just been battered by Newcastle. Don't really score goals either. I would bite your hand off for those two as the 2 games to go 5 points clear. So Spurs have got it in their own hands to go 5 points clear at the top, albeit only for 15, 18 hours, whatever it is, until the other teams play. But yeah, Spurs have put themselves in a nice little position to go on a run. So all is positive.
It is positive. And Monday night was interesting for me because I thought Spurs were excellent. Praise them. A handful of Spurs fans last year that thought I had a Spurs agenda have been DMing me saying, oh, it's so nice to hear you speak good about Tottenham. Said, as I told you, for 12 months, when you do well, I say well done. When you're bad, I say you're bad. It's just it's not about overpraising or underpraising. It's just about giving you my personal opinions. But you guys look great. But a lot of Tottenham fans, okay, we had a mixture. We had a spectrum, I would call it. It's a very popular word in 2023. We had a spectrum of Spurs fans. All very happy.
Yeah.
Some suggesting we're a long way from challenging for or winning a title. Others saying that we are already in a title race. Right down to one opinion, which is we are winning the league.
Yeah.
And I know we spoke about this last week, but there's a lot of Spurs fans that said if we can get past this game week 9 and go top of the league, then I want us taken seriously. We had Deji on the show saying then we have to be taken seriously. Young Harry on the show saying we are winning the league. We've got to believe in this. If we believe it and we push it, we can manifest it into happening. Do you just think this is still a case of Spurs fans enjoy where you are, praise what we're doing, keep the standards high with the owners, but please relax and calm down? Or are you starting to change your mind, Sav? Or do you believe that this title talk is right to be happening now?
It's October. Like, do you know what? It's October. Look, where we are is brilliant. Let's look at the positives, right? Before I go to what people say, like show some chest, which is just this kind of really childish nonsense way of saying just be deluded, right? Show some chest, stick up for your team. It's not about sticking up for my team. It's about being honest. So let's look at the positives and then I'll move to a bit more of feet on the ground in reality. Did any football fan out there, Terry, think that Tottenham could be 5 points clear after 10 games? Now, it hasn't happened yet, but we could do if we beat Palace. No one did. There was no Spurs fan that thought it. There was no fan anywhere for any club. All 92 league clubs, not one fan would have got, Spurs, 5 points clear after 10 games. So what Postecoglou has done has been nothing short of phenomenal. Yeah, and that is absolutely brilliant. It's to be admired. He's got the 11 playing. We're playing some good stuff. Not always. Not always. I thought the second half against Fulham, I thought we were quite poor. And even Postecoglou actually said that he was disappointed with how we played in the second half. And that's fine. So what we've done is we put ourselves in a wonderful position now that if the board, if they are ambitious, we put ourselves in a wonderful position that we can get through to the next transfer window in a good position to say, right, go and strengthen and solidify yourself as a top 4 Champions League club, right? Let's look at that as the first milestone. What we've got, unfortunately, is instead of fans going, I thought we were going to be here, Champions League is doable, they've gone straight over this step and gone to this step of, we're winning a league. Now, right, I'm not here to tell anyone, Terry, to not enjoy it. Of course, enjoy it. It's great. But we're getting to that stage where if you enjoy it, but don't think you're going to win the league title. You're told you're not enjoying it. No. Some of us have been here before, right? Not with just Spurs. So many of us older fans have been there, seen it and done it, when you've seen, all right, it's 9 games in. What the table looks like now could look very different after 25 games. Spurs could still be top in 25 games. Spurs could be 4th in 25 games. For me, I've always said, I think I've come on here and been consistent with this every week to you and to everyone in your chat, Terry. I think the big issue for Tottenham is going to be when we start picking up injuries to that first team, which we've been very lucky with. When we start having 7 games in 28 days in December, because at the moment we're playing like every 10 days or something, and then we're going to be going to playing every 3 or 4 days, that will be the test for me of, can Tottenham cope? Not the first 11. The first 11 is a good 11. On our day, that first 11, we can beat anyone in the league. Can the squad cope? That, for me, is the key thing. We saw it the other day, right? When Maddison come off, when Son comes off, because these guys are carrying knocks, but playing week in, week out. When those two came off, right? No Basuma in there as well. Fulham started to enjoy. Fulham started to enjoy some possession. Fulham started to open us up at the back. Now, they didn't score because they've got nothing. Like, they've got nothing. They were through on goal 3 or 4 times, nothing. A better team punishes you. So for me, can we cope when those players aren't playing for 90 minutes as opposed to taking them off when you're 2-0 up? I don't think that's me being negative. I feel like that's me being cautious as to, I see how football goes. I'll give you the biggest example you like, which should be fresh in everyone's memory, Terry. Look at Arsenal last year, right? 1 injury to Saliba. What happened?
Major problems.
Right. Now, I'm not saying that will happen at Spurs, but could happen to any team. 1 big injury. 1 injury to Rodri. Suspension to Rodri. All of a sudden, Man City didn't look as good. Now, I'm not saying they didn't win games just because of him. So you've got, for me, I think you've got to keep our feet on the ground. I did see your show on Monday night. I thought it was hilarious. Big up to Kate for holding her own against whoever that child was. Going, we will win the league. He's not quite learned, has he? He's not quite learned that he's going to get absolutely ridiculed by other fans come May when we don't win the league. So, look, positive times. We're a good team. Let's see what happens when we have to face some adversity. And I don't think we have yet.
I think that's very, very, very fair. And I don't understand football fans nowadays. You know, in the sense of, even last year, Arsenal got a lot of praise. But when the season started, everyone goes, you called Arsenal to win the league. I said, I didn't start talking about that until about midway through the season. I said at the start, I predicted them coming 3rd. I said they're going to be a really good team this year. I think they might come 3rd. That was called delusional. Then as they created a lead over Man City and were winning so well, and Liverpool weren't in the race, I changed my mind and the prediction ended up not coming right. But I said, I think Arsenal might win the league. I'm actually having Spurs fans say, why are you not praising us like you praised Arsenal last year? And I said, there's 2 reasons. One, it's very early in the Postecoglou rebuild. I still think you got a thin squad. I haven't seen you go through any adversity yet. We'd already seen Arsenal go through adversity and teething problems in the previous seasons. There was a body of work there. And actually, when you actually deep it with Arsenal, the 6 months leading up to the end of that previous 2 seasons ago now, you'd seen the improvements start already. It's just sometimes I think there are some, and this isn't just Spurs fans, I think this is universal. There are lots of fans who are just, in my personal opinion, they are so thirsty for that validation from their rival. They just want the rivals to say, you're the bee's knees, you're amazing. And it almost gets to a point where no praise is good enough, because just saying, what a great start, what a brilliant manager, Postecoglou is like, yeah, but I want more praise than that. Or how much more praise can you get? Well, say we're going to win the league, or say we're going to be in the title race. I don't know that yet. Oh, you're just a hater. I'm not being a hater. I'm really not. Like, you suddenly pick up a couple of injuries as an example, or hit a bit of bad run, a bit of form, a bit of negativity comes back in, a bit of pressure comes in. Then what? I don't believe it right now. And if you keep winning like this, by the way, if you go for another 9 games and you get better and better, keep winning, get better. And there's actually a super chat, a comment here from Roms that kind of alludes to this. The question for Sav that says, you get to January, you're top of the league, Levy invest, so you're now challengers. I think if you get to January, say the end of January, you're top by 5 points, you've brought in 2 additional players into your squad that you really want, then I think it's a different conversation to have because there's new evidence, there's new investment, and you've actually got, when I say evidence and data, you're talking about, 10, 50, well, you're looking at, by that point, 19 to 20 games. It's a bigger body of work and people's minds start to change. I just think Spurs fans should enjoy the ride, and I don't get why they want to apply any more pressure to themselves than they need to. It's crazy to me.
Do you know the thing is, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I don't want to be that guest that comes on and goes, oh, yeah, you're right. But you are bang on. It's that need for validation. You know what? I don't need anyone's validation, whether they're a Spurs fan or not, to tell me about my football club. Right? I've supported this club for 40 years, Terry. Believe it or not. I know I look 21. I know I'm young and sexy, but I've been supporting Tottenham for 40 years, right? Forget Tottenham. I've supported football for 40 years. And fans don't learn. What we do is we see something. I'm a huge believer in this. We see something here in this short-term bubble here, and that's it. I'm seeing posts this morning from people comparing Richarlison's stats to Martinelli's, to Rashford's, and going, is Richarlison that bad? Yes.
I saw that.
Yeah. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Just because those players are out of form at the moment doesn't mean Richarlison's a good player. This is what we do. It's validation. It's need for immediate, love me, love my club, love my team. I'm going to be honest. I'll call a few people out, right? I don't care. People like Husam, right? I know you have him on here. I'd love to have a debate with that guy. People like Husam can't see out of the bubble of their own little club. Can't look at bigger pictures. People who can't actually take a step back and go, hang on. Right? As a rival fan, all I think people should be looking in at a Spurs and going is, God, look at the difference between them last season. Right? That's all I think people should be doing. I think the moment they don't do that, then you know they're biased. Do I need anyone to validate that we're winning a league? No. Do I think we're going to win a league? No. Right? I can just be happy that we're top at the moment. We should beat Palace, but you never know. We've not always been great there. We should beat Palace. And if we go top, let's see it then. We've got to play teams like Villa, like Brighton, like Newcastle, right? Like Chelsea. We've got these teams coming up, like Man City. You start winning all those games, Terry, I'll come on here and go, well, you know what, Terry? No one's beating us. No one's beating us. Yeah, we can win a title. At the moment, it's so early, and I don't need that validation. I don't need the validation. I think where I struggle is football fans are too biased. So do you know what? Like loads of people now going, oh my God, Terry, make the debate happen between Savva and Husam. You know, the problem would be if you tried to have a debate with me and Husam and you sat in the middle, Terry, would be I can look beyond Tottenham Hotspur. I can look beyond my hatred for other clubs. I can look beyond my bias, right? These fans can't. Everything. It's like when we was having the chats. I call them that. Like I was having the chats with a gal last season. You're salty. I'm not salty. I look beyond the hate. Look beyond the hate. Look past your nose and look and see what is going on around you. Tottenham have had a phenomenal start. A phenomenal start. Get me back on here. Well, it'll be every Wednesday, but get me back on here after 20 games. Let's see where we are after 20 games. If Tottenham are top or second or third within 1 or 2 points of each other after 20 games, yeah, I'm coming in here and going, brilliant. All right. Postecoglou's a miracle worker. Right, Daniel Levy, over to you, mate. Come on then. We've got a January window. What are you giving this man to get us over the line? But you know what? 3 games in football is all it takes.
Mate, and do you know what's really interesting? Listening to Kate speak on Monday was how her rationale had nothing to even do with the players and the manager per se. It was, I don't trust the board to actually go out there and do what's needed in January if we're in and around the title. And I think that's also an element that sometimes I don't think people necessarily comprehend. It isn't even about do I think Postecoglou or do I think these players are capable? If all your players stay fit and you have no injury problems all year, which has happened before to some teams, then maybe. But you're going to need a squad. I've never seen anybody win a league without having a good squad. And it's the fact that people want to ignore that element and think it's a dig at your manager. I don't see that it's anyone digging out your manager or your players. But as you say, in terms of like some of the over the top stuff, this is one that really, I implore Spurs fans, to not believe this fully yet, and don't be drawn in with using the manager that you're all falling in love with as bait. And this headline stated that never before as a Premier League manager has had such a rapidly transformative effect on his squad, a club, and a fan base. Now, that's true from the point of view that no one's ever had this many points in their first 9 games. That's facts. The sub-headline is Spurs are no longer Spursy under Postecoglou. And for me, that is a premature statement. The first part is factual. No one's ever started this well after 9 games. But to say Spurs are no longer Spursy, that is suggesting that you'll never bottle anything ever again, and you're going to start winning major trophies. And I don't think there has been enough evidence, not of Postecoglou per se, but there isn't enough evidence coming out of Tottenham to suggest that your team is going to start becoming a major threat for the major trophies again. Because it isn't just about the manager or the coach being good and the players being good enough. It's the way your club is run, and it's the board. And your fan base were protesting against your owners not long ago. Suddenly, after one appointment, by the way, after 3 previous bad ones, suddenly you're not Spursy anymore. I think this is, honestly, it's the media feeding into this frenzy that a lot of Spurs fans want, where they want validation. And much as I've praised you guys, I'm not going to sit here and suddenly start believing that Spurs are no longer the Spurs that we've all, and I mean this with respect, that we've all known and laughed at for our whole lifetime. And you've always been a team that in the end have let the fans down in terms of winning the major trophies in the last 30 plus years, since you won the FA Cup last. And for me, it's a case of the way I'm seeing Spurs spoken about after 9 games. It's been a great start, but that's what it is. It's a great start, and there's a lot more work to do yet. This notion that you're in a title race or you're going to win the league, you're not Spursy anymore. It's a hyper overreaction to what is a very good start, if that makes sense.
Mate, listen, look, what I love about it is that you've got 2 schools of thought. Like as I said, I saw your show on Monday, and I saw what that young kid was saying to Kate, and I thought it was just absolutely disrespectful, and I'm glad she wiped the floor with him. But it was this, because she didn't think Spurs were winning a title, it was, have you got an Arsenal shirt on underneath there? let that sink in. That's somebody in your own fan base. It's amazing how quickly fans of their own club want to have a go at other fans. 9 games. You are spot on. Do you know when Spurs will no longer be Spursy? Right? When they don't get knocked out of cup competitions to teams that we should be beating. Right? When they get to a final and get over the line, right? When we don't throw away leads, that's when a team is no longer, I mean, you call it Spursy. I mean, I've been watching the Wrexham documentary, and they just call it, we've gone all Wrexham. Like they've got their own term for it, and I'm sure other clubs have got their term for it. It's brilliant what's going on. Do you know what I really love about it, Terry? I really love that I can see a plan. That's all I asked for. I can see a plan. I can see what this manager wants to do. I can see the style of football he wants to play, and I can see that we are a million miles better than we were this time last year. But that doesn't mean we have to win a league in year 1. Like that's the right nowism for me to. Do you know what it's like?
Yeah.
I know you're on a fitness kick at the moment, right? And obviously, I don't know what you weigh. I don't know what your key thing is. I'm doing one as well, right? That's like me turning around and saying, you know what? Week 1, I'm making this up, by the way. Week 1. 15 stone, right? For anyone, me, you, whoever. Week 1, I'm 15 stone. You know what? By the end of month 1, I want to be 11 and a half stone with a 6-pack. Whoa. Slowly build, slowly process, build, process. That is the same with football, right? Spurs are working on themselves. Spurs are working to make sure that the 11's good. Now we've got to make sure the subs are good. We've got to make sure that our scouting is good. We're implementing those things. It's nice to see. But why, in 9 games of football, have fans suddenly gone, we're winning a league? No, we're not.
Do you know what? It's also impacting other teams, because you get fans of Arsenal, fans of Man United, and hang on a minute. Chelsea up until this last weekend. Well, hang on. Postecoglou doing it this quickly. The fact that we're not the best in the country, and my manager's been here 4 years, 2 years, or just as long, is a disgrace. It's a marathon and not a sprint. And I'm not suggesting this is going to happen to Tottenham. I'm just saying to fans, what Postecoglou has done is as rare as rocking horse shit because he's just broke a record. Like Gus Hiddink had the record joint. So the two other managers had 22 points after their first 9 games. Gus Hiddink did it in 09, 08, 09. So what we're talking 15 years ago. The other guy did it 30 years ago. So in 30 years, it's been done 3 times, which means it's an anomaly to have this many points in your first ever 9 games. That doesn't mean it isn't great and won't continue. However, didn't continue for the Norwich manager, by the way, Mike, whatever his name was. But the point I'm making is everybody's just so quick to react to these things.
I agree.
And it doesnent mean Spurs shouldn't be praised. And I have praised Spurs. And there's a really weird comment that's coming here from my favorite, Mr. Moron, Maradon the Moron. Which is, why didn't you say things to the Spurs fans yesterday? You're doing the same, Terry, allow it. So there's a few things here. Firstly, I didn't speak to Spurs fans yesterday. So I couldn't have done that. On Monday night show, it's a different show to this. So when it comes to the match reactions, same with a bit like the top 6 show, there are times in the shows where I like to just sit back and listen and let the panelists have their say and talk about things. Man United, I'll jump in. But it's there. And when you say I'm doing the same things, allow it, I don't know what that means. You've got to specify more. But yeah, I can't speak to Spurs fans. And also, when it comes to the graphic I just put up, they said it came out yesterday afternoon. So I didn't get the chance to speak to Spurs fans about it because there was no show to talk to them about. But thank you.